Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the final day at Barcelona, and specifically day 2 of preseason testing. I am JW97, and I will be joined by Robert Ionescu in a bit, but he's gone to get some water, so he will be with us in just a little bit.
Which I have done. So, hello guys.
He is here. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm okay. Just took a quick walk over to the kitchen to grab some water, and now that I've got it, I'm all ready to go. How about you?
Yeah, doing very well as well. Now, of course, yesterday, for any of you who didn't see the preseason test yesterday, we had Franco Gamba top the session for Red Bull Racing. The first ever time a Red Bull has topped a preseason test since 2013, specifically day 4 with Florian Volker at the Circuito de Jerez circuit. Will he be able to continue that into today, the final day of Barcelona, before we head off to Bahrain for the final 2 days? We'll have to wait and see. But anyway... we're going to take a look at the weather now in just a little bit. You'll be able to see it very soon. And we can tell that the weather, there is interesting weather for this. Now, it has got rain for the back end of the session, but we believe we are just going to avoid it because it is only a 45-minute session. So we are expecting this to be a bone dry session. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing any rain at all. Which in a way is kind of okay considering it's testing. I mean, if it was the race, I mean, we would be a bit excited for that, but of course it's only testing.
Naturally,
it would have ruined everybody's lap time. So, yeah, that's the day 2 weather sorted. So I think without further ado, I think we can get underway.
Absolutely. Let's get rolling. And here we go.
So now on the loading screen. Now, a reminder for anybody who didn't see the testing yesterday, the tyres we are using are the red soft tyres, of course. We are now using 3 compounds rather than 7 compounds, with the wear rates from the compounds last season merging to create those 3 compounds, the red softs, the yellow mediums, and the white hard tyres. In terms of the tyres that we'll be using for Bahrain, we'll be finding out either tomorrow or later on today. I think I saw that Thomas Ellis still has the Portuguese flag from memory. I just saw there, so clearly that's an issue that hasn't been sorted out properly.
Let's check just once again to see.
I didn't save the file.
Yeah,
well, that's a little bit of a mistake from our end. Apologies, guys, but we'll get sorted right away, or we won't because we'll get the session going. I think that's William going out. No, it's the Racing Point. It's George Roke.
George Roke, the first person on the track for day number 2. And so obviously for a lot of guys today, they'll be hoping that they can equal their teammate in terms of getting ahead of their teammate in a session. Because, of course, yesterday some drivers drivers were making it 1-0. And they'll be hoping that the drivers who got beaten by their teammate yesterday, they'll be hoping that that isn't the case today, because if that happens, then they will not be driving for day 4, because of course that's when the test drivers will be driving. So for anybody who needs a bit of a reminder of that score sheet, for anybody who's wondering, it's currently 1-0 to Lopez, 1-0 to Chung, 1-0 to Gamba, 1-0 to Chatfield, 1-0 to Byrne, 1-0 to Videri, 1-0 to Roke, 1-0 to Q-Park, 1-0 to De Rosa, 1-0 to Campana, and 1-0 to Titkov. So any of the drivers who haven't got a score on the moment, they've got to get a score today, otherwise they will not be taking part in day 4.
Yep, and for the guys who already are 1-0 up against their teammates, they just need to repeat that today, and they'll have their presence in day 4 guaranteed. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. As we're waiting for George Roke to start the first flying lap of this test, and how about I commentate you guys through his lap? So let's do that. Exiting the last corner, we'll be going George Roke now onto the long straight, the longest straight on this track. It's the number 1 overtaking opportunity to run towards turn 1, as Roke has started his lap, and he's gonna have clean air here, not gonna have to worry about any traffic. Going onto the racing line and braking hard for turn 1. Clip the apex there, touching the curb a little bit into 2, carrying the speed, and setting up for a quick exit into the very fast turn 3, almost flat out. Take a lot of exit, not curb, but a wide line on the exit, and complete the first sector with 20.9. Roke goes through the left to turn 4, as we're looking at Titkov now.
Made a little bit of an error there. It looked like he got some oversteer going through into the first corner there. So a little error from the Russian driver. For anybody wondering, he is allowed to have the Russian nationality in this. It's not like F1 where he would be banned to. We are obviously not a real-life world championship, so he is allowed to run under the Russian nationality.
Yeah,
so,
obviously.
No problems there. No problems there, of course.
Indeed so, as now Roke will be coming up into our turn 10 to finish the second sector from 52.5. Toro
52
Rosso
points.
behind him. I think he might be closing him in on him a little bit. Here goes Rogue through the right. Go wide on the exit, but not too wide. And he's done it all right. Now for another right, which will be followed by the dreaded chicane. Here goes through the left and now through the right. And all that remains in New Holland, the last corner. Take it quick and get a good exit for a start-finish straight. And George Roque will be completing his lap 3.7, which gets beaten by Catalan immediately. And Lopez goes first with 121.5.
That's roughly, I believe that is 3/10 off of Garmer's time from yesterday, as a few other guys are finishing off laps. So Lopez currently at the top, as Roque didn't actually get the best of
Chetro's
that.
gone up into third.
In
Rogue's was pretty bad. Lord Chunk's gone up into second, but only over a second behind Lopez, as God is now 3/10 behind the Argentinian. Federi's gone into sixth. As our Mark guys have a second down on his teammate. Might have had some traffic there from that McLaren.
Yeah, it looks like there was a lot of traffic issues as well. I think it might have been the case for Chung as well. Willows goes into third position. One other note as well,
Now,
with regards to
Macaba surpasses him for third.
I was just about to say, by the way, Lopez has a brand new helmet now for the OC. He's got a brand new helmet, which was made by Evan Byrne. So we appreciate Evan with the work there. He's got a purple helmet now, Lopez has. So a different design to what you used to. So gone is the Fontana helmet that he had, and in is a custom-made helmet. So
yep.
props to Evan for making the
Martinez
helmet.
and Sontag have just completed their runs and went to the back of the pack. Roque is really slow. Look how much he's impeding Catalan, but that won't be an issue for long because Roque is pitting. And even though these two guys had to slow down a lot, they're not going to have to worry about any more traffic for the rest of their run. As Lopez completes his lap, he's not going to improve, obviously. But let's see if he can pass Catalan on the run towards turn 1. Here goes the rookie Italian.
Might be a bit too far back here, but let's see. And no, he looked a bit too far back that time by. Yeah,
I don't think you want to go for it either way. But one thing is for sure that George Roque has completed his first run. His max tip has gone up into 18th. He's improved on his lap time.
Yeah. Now, one of the things, there was obviously we talked about a lot of the topics that were on yesterday. We got a mechanical failure for Jared Fosbury. We got the second mechanical failure of testing as car goes up to second in the Mercedes, and that's a suspension failure because the tyre went up. So I believe that's either suspension or a puncture. That is for Jared Fosbury.
The Renault's gonna have to avoid him, as will the Ferrari, and they've done it successfully. Through goes the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo, and they've avoided the chaos. And that is Armarca avoiding trouble as well.
So only a few minutes in, and we've already got a mechanical failure. Yesterday, of course, Lincoln Parner broke down thanks to a puncture, and it might even be the same issue here for Jared Fosbury. He might have also had a puncture as well.
These guys have some history together, particularly if you remember in GP2, back in 2015 or 2016 at the Indianapolis race, where Fosbury took the lead from Capado on the last lap. Now he shares another thing with him, though, not exactly the thing I think you'd like to share, which is having the first failure of the day.
Yeah, and it was a puncture. We just saw there on the steering wheel, so it is the same issue that Lincoln Parner had yesterday. He's very lucky that he didn't get collected by any of the other cars that were going around in there. So not the best start to date too for Jared Fosbury, and
but it has compromised the other people's laps, and Evan Byrne might be ruining that. I'm not sure if he would have improved either way, but because he had the pit call. But still, it can disturb you if you get impeded like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Fosbury will be with the invisible marshal over the barrier, and he'll he will obviously have a chance to get into the T car because it's only the beginning of the session. Now, before Fosbury had his little mechanical failure there, we had I was about to talk about a couple of other topics that we kind of left out yesterday.
Jill, before you do that, I wanted to just interject for one moment. The second racing point has come in as well. That's around Motian. So both racing points are in the pits. Everyone else is on track.
So far, the racing points not having the best start to the session, but hopefully they'll be looking to improve on it a little bit later. Now, obviously, one of the things that will be a talking point is, of course, the point system. Now, obviously, the points in the race haven't changed in terms of the top 10, but of course, just like in real life, we now have a bonus point for the fastest lap of the race, and just like in real life, it will only be awarded to the person who finishes in the top 10. So whoever gets if the fastest lap of the race doesn't finish in the top 10, then that bonus point will not be awarded. So
that's right. So as it happened in real life when we went to Singapore, Magnussen took the fastest lap in both 2019 and 2020, because he didn't. 2018 and in 2019. My bad. Because he did score points, no fastest lap point for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't finish in the top 10 and you have the fastest lap, you will not be awarded that bonus point. So every point essentially counts. Well, they say that in real life as well. Every point counts in this series, especially in this championship fight. I don't know how much influence it will have in GP4 in the top class, but we'll have to wait and see on that. That means now we have a maximum of 26 points a driver can get, and in terms of the constructors, the maximum that a team can get now is 44 points. So all to play for really in both championships now with that.
Very much so. Meanwhile, we were looking at Miklos Gall a moment ago, and he had just overtaken Lord Chung. I believe that was for position on track. Red Bull are looking good today as well. Ferrari a little bit down after the first 8 minutes, but there's plenty of time to rectify that, as Lopez is the Tefed half down in the first sector. He'll be coming in either way, so this lap doesn't really matter.
And so here we go then around the hairpin. I just got a question from somebody on Discord. I'm unable to answer you at the moment, whoever that was, because I'm currently commentating. So here is Lopez, who is going to be obviously coming back into the pits this lap. Now, another topic as well. We did touch upon it briefly yesterday when we talked about career being on the calendar, but we never went through the full calendar, of course. We mentioned that there are 21 races again, so I might as well go through it with you again. So, the whole calendar.
Yeah, let's do it.
First race, as per usual, will take place in Australia. So the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne. Round 2 will be the Bahrain Grand Prix in Sakhir. Round 3, of course, being the Chinese Grand Prix in Shanghai. Round 4, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku. Armar Kar will be looking to make it farther for there this season if he can. Round 5 will be the Spanish Grand Prix at Catalonia, so basically here. Round 6, the Monaco Grand Prix at Monte Carlo. Then, of course, we will have the week break for the annual Indy 500 race. And then we'll be back a week later for the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal. Then it will be the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard, followed by the Austrian Grand Prix at Spielberg, then the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, followed by where was that? Oh yes, by the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim. Will it be the final German Grand Prix of this current era? Who knows, really? We obviously still have a bit of a mystery around a couple of the races for 2020, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Round 12 will be the Hungarian Grand Prix at Budapest. Then round 13 will be the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps. Round 14, the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Round 15 will be the Korean Grand Prix at Yeognam, not Singapore, the Korean Grand Prix at Yeognam. Then it will be the Russian Grand Prix at Sochi, followed by the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, then the Mexican Grand Prix at Mexico City, followed by the United States Grand Prix at Austin, those two races switching places from last season. Then it will be the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the Yas Marina circuit, followed by the finale, as per usual, taking place at the Brazilian Grand Prix at Interlagos. Hopefully we'll have another title decider like we have had for the last 4 seasons now.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And meanwhile, I want to point out, George Rook has improved on his time. He's gone up into 12th place. As Rook and Franco Gamba being impeded by that McLaren there. And here goes Gomez trying to overtake the half of, I believe that is Chris Chatfield, unless I'm wrong.
I think it is Chatfield because it is a red helmet. Yes, it is. It's Chris Chatfield. Speaking of his teammate Jared Fosby, he has got back out into the spare car, so he's able to continue as the pit symbol is not next to him. Meantime, Roke goes up to 8th, so he goes as a further improvement there. As Garma gets by on one of the McLarens there. I believe that's.
I think that has to be the Maselli, actually.
I think it was De Rosa because it was a yellow helmet. So I
was just looking at the camera on the engine cover, because if it's black, it's the first driver. If it's yellow, it's the second driver. You know.
Well, it doesn't really matter in the OC, to be honest with you, because
that
sometimes he likes to swap the cars around, depending.
Yeah,
the textures of the cars around.
Meanwhile, Roland Montigan has improved. He's gone up into 17th place, so he has gone in front of Jared Fosbury. Now Jay McKenzie will be finishing his lap to not improve.
He remains in 9th position at this present moment. So far then, it is currently a Mercedes 1-2 with Lopez in front of Carr at this present moment, followed by the 2 Red Bulls. Then Joseph Willows in 5th position. Q-Park currently doing well as well.
Is 6th.
Doing a good job so far in this session.
Yeah, his teammates doing well too. Catalan's only down in 11th, so not that far behind. Toros are definitely better than they were yesterday.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. So anyway, Fosby now then, obviously he came back out, of course, because remember he had that puncher. He currently finds himself in 18th, but so far he wasn't on an improvement Gomez will be looking to improve on yesterday because his new teammate Videri beat him yesterday. And so far, looking at the leaderboard, it looks like at the moment Gomez will not be in the car on day 4 because currently Videri is ahead of him in this session. Videri currently 13th and Gomez in 14th position as Gomez makes his way through turn 6 and 7. Oddly enough, that corner before, that little turn before it's not classed as a corner on the track for some reason, which I find quite
that
odd
little kink, you mean?
It's not classed as a corner on the track. Which is,
it's easily flared out, so I could understand if people don't want to count it as one. I personally don't count it, but if you want to, I'm not stopping you or anything. Anyway, look at Maxim Titkov now. He started a new flying lap. He's coming down in 20th as Kirshima Deros has gone up into 15th. Titkov is about 2.5 tenths down in the first sector.
As Titkov just makes his way around the right-hander before approaching the hairpin on the racetrack. Here comes Jared Fosbury going around the near flat-out right-hander. Let's see what his second sector is like in the spare car.
His teammates improved a little bit. I think he's still in the same position as Mackenzie's trying to make a move on his former car, the Mercedes, but he's stuck behind Lopez still a little longer.
Lopez currently at the top of the session at this point in time as we ride on board with Gabriel Gomez as he makes his way around the long right-hander. Let's see what his first sector is like compared to his personal best, and he's still down by 2 tenths. Obviously, we saw yesterday as well that the wear rate can be quite interesting, which is probably why we've been seeing a couple of punches during this session. Which is why we saw Lincoln Campana have one, and obviously today we've seen Jared Fosbury have a puncher. Will we see any more punches by the end of the day? We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully not, but it's weird that because Fosbury's puncture in particular happened pretty early into his stint, so it is a little bit surprising.
Yeah, absolutely. As Fosbury just goes around the right-hander on the racetrack, and obviously
let's see if he's going to grip the tires as Miklos Gal has improved, stays in 3rd place, but now has gone only 2.5 tenths behind the Franco Lopez.
Yep, as Fosbury makes his way down towards the hairpin on the racetrack. I also got some clarification as well about when we were speaking about helmets earlier with Lopez. I did get some clarification about David Kupok's helmet. It was actually made by Evan as well. So,
right.
Cheers to Evan on that one. So,
thank you, Evan.
As now we look at Jared Fosbury, who's just making his own slip, but now we're looking at Laura Chung, who will obviously have some great slipstream off the Alfa Romeo there of Gabriel Gomez.
But she's going to have to make the overtake to make sure her lap isn't compromised. And she does that nicely. She's currently in 6th place. Isn't that Willows, though? Because it says... No, never mind. It is Chung. My bad. I was looking at the wrong place on the table. As I saw... Paulino Tomaselli's gone up into 6th place. Amazing lap there. As Motrin is being overtaken by that is... Miklos Gal.
Chung's actually down in 10th, not 6th. That was Kupok who was earlier.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was messing them up. Chung is down in 10th. But let's see if she can improve with the clean air. As Miklos Gal is being impeded by the Renault, I believe that is Evan Byrne. Finishing his lap.
Will be Evan Byrne because Mackenzie is in the pits, so...
Yeah.
See now, he's
definitely doesn't improve, but let's see how quickly he can get past this Renault. With a little bit of a power advantage for Honda.
Yeah, he'll probably get by him at that point because he was starting to get the overlap on him there at that point as we look back at Fosbury. As
Ross has gone up another place, he's 14th now. As here goes Franco Gamba making a move on, I think that is Matteo Catalan. So it's the 2 Italians and Franco Gamba is in front of the sister team.
At this present moment in time, as we look at Fosbury, he's just making his way through the little turn 6 and 7 there. As he just negotiates around this long swooping right-hander. As Chung goes up to 4th place.
She's in front of Willows now.
So at the moment, Willows will not be taking part in day 4 because obviously Chung ended up finishing ahead of him yesterday. Obviously Chung starting to make a little bit of an impression, obviously trying to show Willows that she's not a pushover essentially, and that she will be giving Willows a run for his money this season, it must be said. As did Carl in a way.
Little bit of contact there. Shoved him wide a little bit and he's through, but Byrne, he'll be lucky he didn't take any damage in that. I'm not... Gal has an appetite for making moves at that corner, I'll have to say so myself. But yeah, Evan Byrne, his lap got a little bit compromised there.
I don't think there actually was contact. I think Evan was kind of scared off into a mistake there. So, yeah, bit of a weird one there. But anyway, Byrne, obviously, as you just mentioned there, had his lap compromised. Fosbury
He's
now
only down
leading
at 19th, the Irishman. That's unfortunate for him, but there's plenty of time left to recover, just under half an hour to be exact. Fosbury continues to lose time compared to his previous laps. I was looking at the delta in the first sector, and it keeps increasing from lap to lap, so we're definitely coming into play for the Brit.
Yep, obviously Fosbury finishing runner-up last season in GP2, just missing out on the title, and he'll be looking to hopefully make an impression in the top class. Here is Armar Khan on board with him, obviously with the updated helmet. I know that Armar in the chat wanted to see this helmet. It has been updated to represent Mercedes colours this time rather than Ferrari colours, so he's obviously got the turquoise, green, and of course silver to represent the fact that he is at Mercedes. So we are riding on board now with Armar Carr, currently in second place, 700ths off his new teammate, Franco Lopez, and currently, at the moment, not looking like he's improving at the moment on his current time.
Nope. As now Byrne is being overtaken by the Racing Point. Here he goes.
And he did get the move done that time by...
It looks like this is a long run for the Irishman. I'm not sure where exactly he'll be coming in, as Fosbury, 1.6 seconds off his personal best. He'll be coming in the end this lap. Get some new tires in on board.
At the moment, though, Fosbury will not be taking part in day 4 because at the moment his teammate Fosbury is up in... where is he at the moment? Sorry,
Chatfield.
Chatfield.
He's 11th.
He's 11th. He's in 11th position. I have to say, though, Chatfield has been looking quite impressive in these 2 days, it must be said, in the Haas. Because it does seem that, obviously, that the Haas seems to have dropped back from last season in terms of pace. But
Martinez has improved, but he is still in 21st, meanwhile. And
this is Lopez getting by on Catalan there as we look back at Fosbury. But yeah, Chatfield obviously doing a good job so far in these 2 tests. So far, having the measure of his teammates so far in testing. And he'll be looking to see if he can continue that momentum going into the season and hopefully have a good season under his belt.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he'll be aiming for. But still, it's only testing. So even if you're in front of your teammate, don't get too many false ideas. As Fosbury, he will be boxing. He's quite some way down, even on his own best, let alone the leaders.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. I mentioned that to you at the beginning of this, before the stream began, JP, that you were supposed to send a helmet in for Jared Fosbury, but obviously you haven't done so yet. But obviously the season starts next week, JP, so you've still got a bit of time to send it in, don't worry.
Yeah, now we're looking at Lynn Campana, who's currently in a very solid 16th place. Almost an entire second in front of his teammate Felix Zontag. Campana didn't improve this time around. Looking at Willow, speaking of Zontag, he's impeding the Brit. Can he go through here into turn 10? No, not quite.
We have to wait for the straight. Well, speaking of Felix Zontag, as you were looking at him in front, we did get some clarification about the Mick Schumacher helmet he's wearing. This helmet is only being used for pre-season testing because for the main season, Felix will actually be using a different helmet. Probably an updated Michael Schumacher helmet, perhaps, or maybe even a custom helmet. But we know that he will be running a different helmet throughout the season. It won't be that Mick Schumacher helmet that he's currently wearing. So,
yep. Now we're looking at Gal making a move on the manor, or not quite. There is Maxim Titkov in front, and Miklos Gal. His lap, which was looking good in the first sector, has now been entirely compromised.
A comment that Yuri will like is the fact that he obviously likes the Mikasala helmet that Laura Chung is wearing, especially the little tweet that he's put on it with the Mission Run Now. And it was Yuri that actually made the tweet with the Mission Win Now stickers on the Mikasala helmet, so you can thank him for that. As we now look at Lynn Campana, who's obviously coming back into the pits. Here is Miklos Scout at the moment. He's just trying to find his way by on the manor there of, I believe that's Maxim Titkov. It looks like Titkov because it's a Russian helmet. It's the Kvyat helmet, so that's that, as Gal currently being held up by Titkov at this point in time. And
he is
obviously,
struggling a little bit, and there is also a Racing Point in front of them. As Lynn Campana is coming into the pits now, and that is George Rowe in front.
Yeah, here comes Jones Roke at the moment. He's not on improving at this point in time. Roke currently finding himself in 9th position, so at the moment he will be in the car on day 4 because he did, of course, beat Motrin yesterday.
And he's currently 8/10 in front of his teammate, even without improving now. As Gal is finally making his way past Titkov, he's going to have the inside and should be an easy overtake, which it is.
We mentioned this well yesterday. It does appear like the Honda engine might be a bit of a match to the Mercedes engine down the straight because the Manor does have a Merc engine in the back of its car. So it might be a match for the Mercedes. We'll have to see.
I don't think the Honda is, though, as now Armarka is making a move on Jay McKenzie. McKenzie manages to hold on in the braking zone, though, and that's Cal's lap compromised.
Yep. As here is Titkov then, just making his way down the hill. Now Gal is actually being impeded now by George Rogue. So
yeah, but we won't have to worry about him much longer. It's only one lap since Rogue is coming in.
As Titkov just makes his way around the chicane there, and just making his way around the long swooping right-hander. As Gal will be coming into the pits this lap, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, but I think he might try and pass Rogue here. No. Oddly enough, we haven't seen any contact down this hairpin. We did see quite a bit of it yesterday, but we haven't seen any contact at all down the hairpin. I might have jinxed it at this point.
Maybe the drivers have gone down a little bit, and now here goes Martinez trying to make a move on Catalan, but backing out of it.
Yep. Obviously, we mentioned a little bit earlier that the Mercedes engine might be a match for the Honda engine down the straight, but let's see if that becomes true when Martinez tries to find the McLaren.
Meanwhile, of Tomaselli and De Rosa are racing each other, and De Rosa has a personal best first sector, but if his teammate doesn't let him by, then I doubt he'll be improving on his lap.
De Rosa currently down in 14, so at the moment Tomaselli will at the moment level the score between him in terms of who will be in the car for day 4. As now let's see if Martinez can actually get by on Mattia Catalan, and I believe he will do because he looks like he's going to get the overlap on the Italian, and yes he does.
So he's got him.
So kind of proving my point really. Kind of proving my point really that the Mercedes and the Honda seem to be a match to each other down the straight, but it appears like the Ferrari engine appears to be stronger down the straight compared to the two of them, and it seems that the Renault might be the weakest down the straight. But
yeah, indeed so.
And we look at Titkov then. He just makes his way around the turn 6 and 7 corners now then, as he'll make his way with a long swooping right-hander.
Yep, to complete the second sector. And what time can he set into this one? He's almost 6 times down on his personal best, so I don't think he cares too much about lap time at the moment. Just gathering some long-run data for the team.
As now we look at Armar Carr, who's trying to make his way through on the Toro Rosso Catalan. So
Catalan defended the inside there, and Carr wasn't able to squeeze his way through.
Catalan looking like he's practicing some defending, it must be said. As here is Titkov just making his way around the final corner. He'll be just finishing off that current flying lap. So at the moment, we're just under 22 minutes to go. This is what the leaderboard currently looks like there. It's Lopez at the top, with Carr in second, Gal in third, Chung in fourth, Garber fifth, Willows in sixth, Tomaselli seventh, Kupok in eighth, with Roke in ninth, McKenzie 10th, Chatfield in 11th, with Catalan in 12th, Federeri in 13th, De Rosa 14th, Gomez in 15th, Campana 16th, Motrin in 17th, Fosbury in 18th, Byrne 19th, Titkov in 20th, Martinez in 21st, and Sontar currently in 22nd and last. As Car just got the overtake done there on
Fosbury's
Catalan.
up into 16th meanwhile. He's climbed a couple of places there. He's got in front of Lynn Campana. And Titkov will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Now Catalan under pressure from Jay McKenzie. Turn 4, he holds him off. But he's already lost plenty of time in the first sector, the Italian.
Yep, as Catalan will make his way down towards the hairpin. Obviously, a rookie lineup for Toro Rosso this season with 2 promotees from 2 different tiers. Obviously, Davey Kupok coming up from GP2, and of course, Matteo Catalan, to the shock of everyone, making the step up from Formula E. The road goes up to 11th. But at the moment, still not outpacing his teammate Tomaselli, so at the moment it will still remain 1-1 at this point in time.
Either way, he's only 2.5 tenths behind him now. Here goes McKenzie putting him over on Catalan, and he dies it past. Nicely done.
That's McKenzie now just making his way through the left and right-hander now then.
Yep.
And let's see what he can do now as he makes his way towards the last chicane. As George Rope puts it whenever he does commentary for the top class, probably the most pointless chicane in history, the flow breaker, as he has called it many times in his commentary. Because
very much true. As McKenzie, obviously he didn't improve on that lap. Kaz come into the pits meanwhile. So both Mercedes and both Williams and also Juan Manor onto the pit lane right now.
As McKenzie just starting another lap there as he just makes his way around the long swooping right-hander. As Catalan now then.
He'll be coming in.
Yeah, he's coming in this lap. And he makes his way through the long swooping right-hander. And Catalan, of course, will be coming in at the end of this lap. A few other guys have also just come into the pits now since we've just been talking. I think
Laura Chung is one of them.
Laura Chung's just come into the pits for Ferrari. And at the moment, doing slightly better than what she did yesterday. She obviously ended up in 5th place yesterday, ahead of her teammate Joseph Willows. And at the moment, Willows will not be taking part in day 4 as it
Willow
stands.
not exactly improving on position from yesterday, but he is on track right now. We saw him a few seconds ago. As we're looking at De Rosa, he'll be coming in this lap. He's currently behind Parino Tomaselli, I think that is. No, not Parino Tomaselli. Andrea Federi, I think that is, in the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, exactly. So just coming out the hairpin then goes Kirishima De Rosa, and obviously there were some tweaks that were made to some of the cars. I mean, Jay's Mercedes is no longer shiny, but it appears like Evans is still shiny at the moment, so that's obviously something that we'll probably need to get fixed. And obviously the numbers are still a thing as well. And I would also add as well that, I'd also add that Roland Motrin's number on the front wing is also a bit mirrored, so that might be something that we need adjusting. And Motrin just makes his way around.
It's a funny bug either way. For some angles, it looks as though it's normal.
When you look at it close up, you realise it is mirrored.
Yeah,
that's because if you look at the textures on Grand Prix 4, everything is mirrored, basically on Grand Prix 4 texture. Well, most elements are anyway. So clearly that wasn't addressed when Yuri put the numbers in, but hopefully we'll get that fixed if he has a chance to.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah, as now we look at Lincoln Parno's just starting a lap now. Then currently lying in 17th position.
8th about his teammate Felix Zontak, so this is a good day for the Americans so far. Let's see if he can keep up the momentum.
Yeah, well, obviously, speaking of him, obviously he's already had his first home Grand Prix, which didn't go according to plan, got crashed out on lap 1. He'll be hoping by the time they get back to Austin later on in the season, that doesn't become the case again. He's up on his personal best in the first sector, though.
Only by 100th of a second, but he can obviously gain some more in the last 2 sectors, and let's see about that.
As he makes his way down the hill towards turns 6 and 7. And let's see if he's able to keep that up in the second sector. Currently lying in 17th, as we mentioned, but at the moment, looking at the lap time, he'll probably remain in 17th, but just improve on the lap time he's currently holding at this point in time.
And he's actually almost 3 times down, so he's lost some time. Second sector, I suspect it might have been the exit from turn 5. He was a little bit sluggish there. But sector 3 is where the big gains happen.
He makes his way through the long, swooping right-hander before heading towards the chicane that I think everybody hates, but of course it's obviously there for a reason, because if they use the old second-to-last corner, it wouldn't pass an FIA inspection because they can't really push the barrier back on that bit so that it could have a wider runoff. But anyway, Lincoln Parno across the line.
A little bit more time in the last sector. As we got Alfa Romeo coming out and a Ferrari of Joseph Willows. Willows coming out just in front of Byrne on track.
Yeah.
And Gabriel Gomez out behind Len Campana. I'm not sure how much longer the American will be staying on track, but he'll be hoping he won't pose too much of a traffic hazard to the Alfa behind. He's lost 10 for the half of the first sector, meanwhile.
Campana now they're making his way down the hill through this left-hander, and
you can already see Gomez gaining on him quite convincingly.
Gomez currently lying in 15th behind teammate Federi, and so only 3 cars currently in the pits at this point in time. They'd be Mackenzie, De Rosa, and Martinez. As Campana makes his way down.
Half a second down on his personal best, literally not improving, and it's only a matter of time until he gets overtaken by the Alfa behind of Gabriel Gomez. Let's see.
Yeah. Also, well, we were talking about the calendar a little bit earlier on, and obviously we touched upon the fact that this could be the last German Grand Prix of this current era DOC. I don't think it'll be the last German Grand Prix ever because of the fact that we're going fantasy in 2021. But in this current era, who knows? Because I brought up something as well that 2 of the races on the 2020 calendar, because of course we are using the original calendar for 2020 if COVID didn't ruin everything. But as I was saying, obviously there are 2 tracks that are obviously under question. They are, of course, Hanoi and Zandvoort. Both of them for different reasons. Zandvoort being that because of the DAT file. And now, obviously, if you saw last season in GP2, there was obviously an updated DAT file for that track that recently got released because it is the only version of Zandvoort that is available. Well, it's not necessarily true. It's the latest version of Zandvoort that is available because there isn't a banked version of Zandvoort on Grand Prix 4 as of yet. It's only the 2005 version. And so...
And for Hanoi, I don't believe there is actually anything.
Hanoi is not on the game. We are aware there is a DAT file that somebody's got, but there isn't a full release of the track yet as we speak. No textures or anything like that. So obviously there are going to have to be question marks as we speak. So what will happen to those two races, we don't know. But maybe the DAT file is satisfactory enough to the point where we can use it for 2020, and we would be able to go to Zandvoort as a result. But we'll have to wait and see. But Hanoi, I think, is the main one.
A free wide moment into here as Franco Gamba is making a move. He's gone past.
Hanoi, as I mentioned, probably being the main question mark in terms of whether it be there on the calendar or not.
Willow's up to 5th place. He's going in front of Gamba. And I want to point out Felix Sontag improved his personal best by 3/10 about a few minutes ago, but he's still in last place.
Yep. And so as Gomez makes his way through the first few turns on the racetrack, and that's
he should have a little bit of clean air this lap. Let's hope he doesn't catch that Renault too quickly.
So in terms of who will replace Hanoi, of course, I mean, there is speculation of what it might be. It could be a track from the revised calendar, or given that Korea has come back to the calendar for 2019, it may have opened the door for a potential other track to possibly replace it. We'll have to wait and see what Yuri decides with that one, but we can guarantee that there will be 22 races next season, and it'll probably be the only time we'll ever have 22 races on the GP4 OC calendar, because we are aware that it's probably more likely going to be 20 races for the 2021 season when we go. Fantasy as Mackenzie improves.
Yeah. And in front of his former teammate George Roque, as his current teammate is currently impeding Gabriel Gomez.
As Gomez just makes his way around that long right-hander, and obviously the lap would have been impeded as a result. Now, obviously we talked about yesterday that the Alfa Romeo looked like it had some decent pace, but it seems today it doesn't seem to be at the moment. They're languishing around in 14th and 15th, so who knows what's going on down there at the... we still call them the Swiss-based team because the team is still Swiss, even though the team name is an Italian company, so that's that really.
Today might have been yesterday might have been the one-off, and maybe this is the true pace of the Alfa Romeo, but either way, they're not, today is a little bit of an off day, that is for sure. They'll be hoping to find this pace in the remaining 12 minutes, and if not now, then at Bahrain.
As Gomez makes his way around the long, swooping right-hander, and making his way down towards the hairpin. Burns still holding him up at the moment, which is surprising. I would have thought that Gomez would have probably got him on the straight, given that he has a Ferrari engine in the back, and we've seen quite a bit that the Ferrari engine seems to have quite an edge over most of the engines. There's a little bit of a side-by-side moment there going on behind Martinez.
I think it was the Red Bull and the Haas, and I think the Red Bull is in front now. No, it's not. Franco Gamba is still struggling, and here comes Des Rosa behind, trying to overtake him. Mackenzie improves yet again, but he's still only in 9th place. And look at this massive slowdown as the Haas is coming in.
We're right on board with Martinez, who's going to cross the line, currently in 21st position, and he's going to remain there. Yeah. That's where he remains at this point in time. And at the moment, it looks like Martinez will not be in the car on day 4, because at the moment Titkov is ahead of him in this session. So at the moment, it looks like Wolf will probably be replacing Martinez on day 4 when the test drivers come out in the second day of Sakia. So...
yeah, but there's still time for this to change. We got just over 10 minutes, and it should be entertaining to see how else the leaderboard will change. As now, Byrne might be overtaken by Gomez. Here comes the Brazilian putting a move with the superior power unit. He should be able to get him, but Byrne is holding on, actually, and he retains track position for a little longer.
Yeah, again, very surprising there on how the Alfa has not been able to overtake the Renault on the straight, but
yeah,
a bit interesting that. As Martinez now then just makes his way around the long, swooping right-hander now then, as he'll make his way down towards the hairpin.
He's 6 tenths down on that one, so I don't expect any sort of improvement. But I wonder about Franco Gamba, now that he has clean air. I'm interested to see if he'll be able to get back up in front of his teammate Nicolas Gall or not.
Well, at the moment, he has the fastest overall time in Barcelona.
As Lopez has improved. Yeah,
still not quite there. And not quite quicker than Gamba yesterday, because I remember that Gamba did a 1:21.2 yesterday. As Gomez finally gets by on Byrne, this time at the hairpin. And
that will be a breath of fresh air for both of them. They're not going to have to worry about any sort of traffic, as Martinez once again didn't improve.
Okay.
Just came into the pits, I think.
Yuri.
Yes, he did.
Just got some information from Yuri here as to why the Renault might be quite good on the straight, because like in real life, it's got the Renault. Obviously, remember in real life as well, the Renault was very quick on high-speed tracks like Monza because of its low downforce. Well, that is what the Renault is replicating on this mod. It's actually got a low downforce setting on the car, so that's why it's able to do well on the straights. It's not the engine; it's to do with the downforce, or something that replicates the downforce, I should say. So anyway, Martinez now then, we're just looking around, he's just going around those sets of corners as Gomez now then just makes his way around the right-hander there.
2.5 tenths down in the first sector, so I doubt any sort of improvement will arise. But let's see.
As he just goes around the left-hander and making his way down the hill.
I want to ask you, Joe, so far this season, is there, this session, sorry, not this season. So far this session, is there any driver who in particular has impressed or surprised you?
Interesting. I did say Chatfield a little bit earlier on. He has impressed me so far in the Haas. So I would say Chatfield's probably been quite impressive so far in these first 2 days of testing. Obviously, top guys are obviously doing what they're doing, of course. Obviously, we had Gamba, who was impressive yesterday as well. It seems like he's not up to the scratch compared to he was yesterday for whatever reason, but he is currently lying in 6th position. Tomaselli looks like he's been able to pick up the pace today, of course.
Yeah, very much so.
Being best of the rest so far. Kupok also been very impressive, I must say, during the tests. So, I've been very impressed with what Kupok's been able to do in the Toro Rosso. It seems that Toro Rosso might have made a step up compared to last season, especially as well, given that it seems like the Honda engine might actually be quite a decent engine now, looking at how Red Bull are doing at the moment.
So it seems. We're looking at Tomaselli, meanwhile. The man currently in 7th, best of the rest in that McLaren. So it's good for him. I believe McLaren were best of the rest yesterday as well with Hiroshima Di Rosa. As take a look at this, a big squabble here for position. That's the Mercedes of Franco Lopez, just making his way past that Haas of Dred Fosbury. And there's also Nicholas Gall involved in this squabble at the very back of it.
Yeah, so now we're heading down the straight now then as Mackenzie crosses the line.
Putting that low downforce setup, low drag setup to good use. I suspect he'll be able to get past that Haas. Noel Gomez, 8 tenths down, he's not improving at this rate.
So we now look at Gomez, as here is Gal now trying to get by on the Haas of Fosbury, as Gal makes his way through the long, swooping right-hander.
He's going to send in turn 4, no, he's backing out of it.
Yeah, he doesn't think about a lunge going into that corner there, as Gal makes his way down towards the hairpin, which obviously you could say is kind of a little bit like Portugal's second to last corner in that it drops off basically, and it's very easy to lose the back end. There's a little lock-up there going on for Jay Mackenzie. So
now he's gone wide, went under a curb there, but was able to save the car.
We're going to take a look at a replay of that, so let's see. So he makes his way into the corner there, and just looked like it was a little bit unstable going through into that corner there, and as a result went over the rumble strip on the inside there, and that wouldn't have done the car any good from that.
It bounced off a little bit of that sausage curb, and Jay Mackenzie's current run, it's not looking so good, but let's not forget he's currently of almost a second in front of his teammate Evan Byrne, as Felix Sonntag has moved up to 17th in front of his teammate Campana.
So it will be 1-1 at the moment between Sonntag and Campana if Sonntag is able to stay ahead of Campana in the session.
Two manners are languishing at the back of the field. As looking at De Rosa trying to put the move on one of those manners, actually, Rosetta Martinez. Turn 10 he goes, sending it, he's made it work.
De Rosa currently lying in 11th position, so he's actually doing pretty well. He obviously needs to have a good season after what had been a tricky season for De Rosa last season, despite the fact that he did get a podium at Monaco, but that was as good as it got, really, for De Rosa, I must say. Although he did get a couple of more points finishes last season, it was quite a tricky year for De Rosa. Most of it not his fault because of bad luck and some reliability issues, but he'll be hoping for a redemption season in 2019 and hopefully try and get up the pace of Paolino Tomaselli, who we've seen for the last 2 seasons has been mightily impressive in the top
Meanwhile,
class.
I
And
wanted to say, this is a very good first sector for Nicholas Gully. He's just overtaken Mackenzie. And meanwhile, the two Mercedes are right next to each other on track because the Darmok actually came out. And he's right up there with his teammate. Not just on the timing sheet.
Gal obviously up on Lopez in the first sector, so whether he'll be able to keep that up in the second and third sector, we'll have to wait and see. Here is Felix Sontag now then in the Rocket Williams racing car. Obviously no more Martini, it's now Rocket for Williams. Sontag now then crossing the line with just over 5 minutes to go. Does not improve.
We're kicking in 5 minutes to go exactly. A little bit less now. I will have to see what pace Gal can pull off. We're looking at Martinez. He might be caught up by that Ferrari of Lord Chunk soon.
As Martinez just makes his way around the long swooping right-hander, the first ever Filipino to compete in the top class, of course, and he'll be looking to make an impression as Garber gets held up there. I thought for a minute that was Gal there. I thought that was Gal there for a minute, but it was in fact Frankie Garber.
But I wonder where Gal himself is, because there he is. He's improved a little bit, but still in third.
Yeah, so he lost a bit of time, it seems, in the last two sectors. So it seems like he's stronger than Lopez through the first sector at this point in time, as Tomaselli makes his way through the long swooping right.
The first sector is the fastest one, so not exactly the place you'd expect, considering it has the long straight. But Red Bull are looking very solid in that first sector.
Yeah, definitely. As
Campana's being overtaken by one of the McLarens now, and he's actually trying to hold position. Into turn 2, he's having the inside, and using the grip, he manages to hang on and keep the Rossa behind.
Is the Mercedes engine being able to stay in front of the McLaren at this point in time, as Campana makes his way through the long swooping right. And here is Miklos Gal then, as he'll just make his way through the right-hander himself.
He hasn't gained anything in Sector 1 this time around, though. But let's see. He's down once again.
Got one of the Mercedes in front of him as well. One of the guys that are in front of him at the moment in this session. With just over 3
because Lopez has come into the pits. Now looking at Franco Gamba, lining up a move on Maxim Titkov. Not quite. He's backing out of it. Being the wise man here, Franco Gamba, and he'll be waiting for the main straight. Now Di Rossa diving in past Campana, and he's made it work, even though he'll be pitting. I think this is just some overtaking practice for the pole.
It's very close, though. Very close to contact between the pair.
Yeah, very much so. It was a little bit scary there.
I hope I don't jinx it in these remaining few minutes, but there hasn't been any contact down at that hairpin, which is very good to see.
Yeah, let's hope it stays that way, Joe. As Evan Burns finally improved, he's finally upped his pace, and now is in P10, just 3/100 of a second behind his teammate Jay McKenzie.
Yep, so he now gets himself into the top 10, pushes Rogue outside of the top 10.
So Renault, once again, they didn't look spectacular, but they're still looking consistent. I think they were right about at the same places yesterday, or thereabouts.
Yes, they were around about the sort of pace yesterday. As Gal has he just got past the Mercedes, actually?
Yes, he has. Wait, no, is it the other Mercedes? Because Lopez has gone back out on track.
Oh, okay, so it might be Lopez then, as we look at Byrne, who's trying to get by on Jared Fosbury, and can't be able to do so far in this session. And so we now look at Thomas.
2 seconds down. Either way, it's been a good session for the Italian. He'll be happy with that. Here goes Byrne at the hairpin. That didn't work.
Not quite. Fosbury just able to hang it around the outside. 2 minutes to go then here for the final day at Barcelona before we head off to Sakhir for the remaining 2 days. And obviously my last day in the commentary box for preseason testing, because of course you'll be hearing, you'll obviously be hearing Rob tomorrow, but you'll be hearing Rahul Patelroy tomorrow for the Sakhir test. So
and also on the last day as well. But yeah, that's how things are looking.
That's how it's looking at the moment, unless things change. But I do believe that Rahul is available for those final 2 days. As now we look at Tomaselli, who just makes way.
Gamba's gone into second, and that's guaranteed his spot into the day 4 session, unless Gal can find something. But either way, great lap from Franco Gamba, and he's almost matching Lopez. He needs to find just 1/10 more. This is very good sign. It's Franco 1, Franco 2. And Gamba,
just like yesterday,
like he's going to beat his teammate again, yeah.
Franco 1-2 yesterday. It seems like it would be a Franco 1-2 today. So it seems that the Franco, whatever I forget what they called it, to be honest
with you. Franco domination.
That's the one. Seems that the Franco domination may continue for another day. But we are into the final minute now of the the testing session here at Barcelona, the final few seconds here at Barcelona. Tomaselli now then crosses the line, and he won't be able to improve, but he will be able to get one more lap in.
I've seen like 20 seconds of a bunch of cars coming out, and I wonder if they'll have enough time to actually get their final flying lap started. And we're looking at Roland Motjan, only down in 20th. Not a good look. He's almost his 8 tenths behind his teammate George Rowe. Can he rectify that? He will have one lap, of course, after this. I don't think it'll be enough. And Motjan, no, he didn't improve. Quite some way down.
There's Armar Carr. He obviously needs to be able to get ahead of Lopez, otherwise Rifki will be replacing him on day 4. He's got one more lap. Here is Miklos Gau. He'll get one more lap in, of course. He does not improve.
Down. And Bern is coming in at this session done, and he's impeding Franco Gamba. He won't be able to go fast like this, the Italian. But he will have one last lap, of course.
Yep. Obviously, it means that Mackenzie and Byrne will be level, so it will come down to day 3 as to who Julius Anderson will replace on day 4. Here is Andre Vaderi across the line, and he'll start one more lap. Let's see if Campana can make it. 5 seconds
left. He'll be close, but I don't think he will. No,
I don't think.
1 second, and the checker flag is now out. Link Campana has missed out on a lap. This session is done.
Vaderi was the last one to cross the line. Chung across the line remains in 5th position. Here comes Gabriel Gomez across the line. He will go. And no improvement for him.
Got some time there. Here go the Manners. Trying to start a lap, but they're out of time. What about David Kupok? He's currently in P8 and he'll be staying there, it seems. He doesn't improve, but he didn't need to anyway.
Here comes Tomaselli now then, just making his way through the next section of corners. And so he'll make his way through the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Tomaselli now then crosses the line. He's not going to be able to improve, I do not think.
And he doesn't.
No, he won't. So that's that for him then.
And who does this leave? I think Motjan and Gamba are yet to finish their flying lap. Yeah, Federi too.
So just coming around the final few corners.
And here goes one, Motjan. It's been a very bad day for him so far, but there is still time tomorrow, and of course the day after that. So it's not a big of a hiccup.
Well, unfortunately, he will not be there for day 4 because George is now officially beaten him. Miklos Gau, he doesn't improve, so he will not be in the car on day 4. So won't Carl
be Franco Gamba, who will round off the session in 2nd place, unless he can improve and go fastest right at the very end of it. And he doesn't.
He's already beaten Gau, so he doesn't improve.
Yeah.
Here comes Vaderi now then. He's going to be coming down the pit straight.
And he doesn't improve on it.
No, he doesn't. No. So that's that then. That's the end. So at the end of that, then your top 3 are Franco Lopez, Franco Gamba, and Armar Carr. So Mercedes won 3 in this session then. So
and Red Bull doing very well to split them with Franco Gamba there.
Before we go, let me just update the score sheet then of how it looks for every driver on the grid in terms of what's going to happen for day number 4.
All right, very well.
So
I think that the Ferraris are in the same positions as they were yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
They are, yes, 5th and 6th again for Laura Chung and Joseph Willows. Chung again beating Joseph Willows, so we all know what.
So it's an early sign that Ferrari might actually have the 3rd best car this season, or do they still have some aces hidden up their sleeve, and they'll wait until Bahrain or until even Melbourne to unleash them?
Well, as we saw on the straights, they did seem to have an edge on the straight. So given that we're going to Bahrain for the final 2 days, and given that track is historically known for being a power track, we'll have to see if they're able to turn up in Sakir. But I've now got the full scores for you after day number 2. Lopez is 2-0 ahead of Carr, which will mean that Fakhrizadeh will replace Carr on day 4. Chung is 2-0 over on Willows, so that will mean that Marta will replace Willows on day 4. 2-0 to Gamba, so that will mean that Patel will replace Gal on day 4. 2-0 to Chatfield, which will mean that Roberto Gamba will replace Fosbury on day 4. 1-1 between Mackenzie and Byrne, so that will go down to the final, to day 3, of course. 2-0 to Vaderi, so that will mean that Aaron Curtis will replace Gabriel Gomez on day 4. George Roque is 2-0 ahead of Roland Motrin. That will mean that Telavinau Terranon will take Roland Motrin's place on day 4. 2-0 to Kupok, so that will mean that Prozzi will replace Catalan on day 4. 1-1 between De Rosa and Tomaselli, so that will go down to day 3. 1-1 between Sontag and Campana, so that will also go down to day 3. And 2-0 between Tipkov and Martinez, so that will mean that Adam Wolf will replace Rosetta Martinez on day number 4. So
that's right.
That then. That is that then. That is the end of day number 2 of preseason testing and the final day here at Barcelona. Some very interesting times. This is my last day of doing commentary for preseason testing. I will not be here for the Bahrain test. You'll obviously be hearing Rahul Patel's voice tomorrow alongside Robert Ionescu. Robert will be here, of course, for the final 2 days. But until then, that has been it. We will see you guys tomorrow at the same time at 4:30 p.m. BST for the penultimate day of preseason testing, the first being at the Bahrain International Circuit. But until then, I've been JW97.
And I have been Robert, and we'll see you again next time. Take care, guys.
See you tomorrow for day number 3. Take care.